Well, look, they've asked for time. I mean, even in the NCA statement this afternoon, they've said that it's going to be complex because there's other police forces involved, and they asked for time. But look, they've had 16 years. If you think back, we had a picture of Epstein and Andrew back in 2010.
Police are now examining private flights in and out of Stansted Airport following the publication of the US Department of Justice's Epstein files. Now, the convicted paedophile's private jet, nicknamed the Lolita Express, is understood to have made about 90 flights connected to UK airports, including 15 after Epstein's 2008 conviction in the US for soliciting prostitution from a minor. Now, there's also mounting pressure, as you'll know, on the Met to consider a fresh criminal investigation into allegations concerning the former Prince Andrew. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he's now known, has always, of course, denied wrongdoing. Well, the royal editor of The Sun joins me. It's Matt Wilkinson. Matt, welcome. So the police, we're told, are reviewing. We seem to have been told this for quite a few days now. How many police forces are involved? What exactly are they reviewing?
Well, we're currently at 7 police forces, and they are assessing everything that we've been hearing in the news the last couple of weeks, everything from the Epstein files that's been coming out. The most interesting one that you mentioned there is Essex Police. Now, this is key because it's not the misconduct in a public office that we've spoken about in the past, about the emails that he may have forwarded on to Epstein. These are the flights that have gone into Stansted Airport. So Essex Police cover Stansted Airport, and they're looking into who was on those flights, where were these women trafficked to. If you look at the files, there is allegedly one person who's connected, or one woman connected to Prince Andrew in those flight logs that they will be looking at. But as I say, 7 police forces now. Bedfordshire are looking at flights into Luton. This all comes from Gordon Brown, who a very interesting article he wrote last week, where he was saying this is quite shameful, the fact that we have never actually properly looked into it.
Well, he's not wrong, is he?
No, he's not wrong. And look, there's an inevitability about this. I'll tell you what's more, what we've just heard is that the NCA, the National Crime Agency, was often dubbed Britain's FBI. They don't like that name, but that's what they are. They're actually now been drafted into this task force of all these 7 police officers to look into, to help assist. And what they will be doing, we understand, is assisting in getting documents from abroad. So they will liaise with other countries to get more information to help with this vast task force. So it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. I think we may have reached the limit with 7 police forces, but now they are, it appears, properly actually digging into these allegations.
OK, now, I mean, it looks as though, because this is going to be a complex business, we are going to have to be patient. It's not going to be over next week, is it? Well,
look, they've asked for time. I mean, even in the NCA statement this afternoon, they've said that it's going to be complex because there's other police forces involved, and they asked for time. But look, they've had 16 years. If you think back, we had a picture of Epstein and Andrew back in 2010. So, let's be patient and let's let the police do what they need to do. It's nice, or it's just that they are finally looking into everything that maybe they should have looked at many, many years ago. But there seems to be more of a political will. There seems to be more momentum now for the police to investigate. But yeah, they have asked for time.
You're right. There is a really depressing element of hiding in plain sight about all this, isn't there? I mean, maybe we all should ask ourselves why we weren't asking these questions.
We were, but we weren't saying it with the same inflection. We were kind of saying at the time, oh, Prince Andrew, or as he was then, he sleeps with lots of women and sneaks women into Buckingham Palace, and you kind of passed it off as a thing.
Yeah.
Now, with everything that we're armed with the knowledge, we're saying he snuck women into Buckingham Palace. Now knowing what we do know, I think that's why it's more expedient.
Yeah. And when you hear that statistic that there were 15 of these 90 flights into Stansted after Epstein had been convicted back in 2008, that is genuinely shocking. And it just begs the question, who's in charge of private jets? I must admit, it's a world I know nothing about, but how is that whole system regulated, and who by? Well,
it does. It extends it past Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, right? So it extends it into Home Office, who's manning our borders, who's checking people at these private airports. Are their passports being checked? Were the police aware? Were the staff aware? And it's the way it's going, as I say, with these 7 police forces, it's expanding far past just, the former royal, and other people will have to be held accountable if there is any wrongdoing. Questions will have to be asked of officials, of police officers, protection officers. Andrew's protection officers will have to be questioned whether they got too close. Did they travel with him abroad? So when we're talking there about time, although we say that, although back in 2010 we knew he was friends with Epstein, maybe we do need to give them a bit of time if we actually want some proper answers further than just what's happened with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
I mean, you're right. There are so many people potentially involved in this. Members of royal households, people who work closely with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, people who perhaps protected him when they shouldn't, and the protection officers, as you say, who I think perhaps just got too used to the lifestyle and didn't ask those questions. They just didn't.
That's going to form part of the inquiry. We understand that they have reached out to some protection officers to ask whether they did get too close to the to the situation. But the obstacles are being removed. Just at the weekend, I think the head of the UK prosecution service said, we will investigate without fear or favour. It doesn't matter what names come up. We will investigate, which is to be assumed, but it's nice to hear it stated publicly. And Buckingham Palace themselves said last week that they stand ready, which of course they have to, but they stand ready for any investigation. So
yeah. I mean, Matt, you work the royal beat. It's not the easiest set of assignments, I imagine. Without being OTT, could this be the beginning of the end for the House of Windsor? What do you think?
Well, they've survived a lot, haven't they? I mean, we're talking, the House of Windsor, I suppose, are just over 100 years, but the royal family have survived everything. Abdications, wars, people being locked in towers, etc., and car crashes. But the royal family will continue to go on, but they need to be able to adapt. I think back in October, when they put a statement out announcing that Andrew was to lose his titles and to be kicked out of Royal Lodge, they almost laid a down payment for several months to say, look, we are acting. That money's running out now. It was interesting, the statement from Buckingham Palace last week saying that they stand ready, but they will have to act if they do want to survive. I think they will survive. I think they do adapt. They do adapt quite slowly. I think if they are to survive this, the whole royal family, it will have to happen at the end of any investigation. I don't think they can do anything now because there is an active police investigation. OK, that's interesting. So to the people saying, well, they need to say something, the king needs to go on telly and make a speech, you're saying actually that legally that would be about impossible. I think it would be ill-advised. Yeah, I think if there was, look, we're casting forward to weeks, months, in the future, but if there was some kind of conclusion with this case, I think that might be the right time for the king to speak out. Right now that there's an active investigation. I understand that people will want them to say something, but I think they're very good with timing, the royal family, and I don't think now's the right time for that kind of action.
Interesting. Thank you very much indeed. That's Matt Wilkinson, royal editor at The Sun. Thank you very much.